Well, let's start with the details now. It's a national problem that has reached crisis point, Galamsey. The cost of producing water has more than tripled as a result of illegal mining in our water bodies. And now there's the possibility of Ghana importing water from neighboring countries. That's how devastating the Galamsey menace has made the country. And now the effects are being felt beyond the borders of Ghana. Ivorian authorities have expressed concern about the constant pollution of some of their water bodies through the activities of Galamsey operators here in Ghana. Environment Minister Professor Frimpong Boateng says he had an awkward experience at a conference in Ivory Coast where he was confronted by officials about the situation. He shared the story during the launch of the campaign against illegal mining yesterday.
In Abidjan from Wednesday to Saturday for a conference, and I was confronted with Galamsey almost immediately. I'll give you some documents when we do this. The effect that the Galamsey in Ghana is having on the Côte d'Ivoire, because the river Bia enters Côte d'Ivoire almost at the lower check, and Tano enters the lagoon and is polluting the Abi lagoon. And so they cannot even treat water in some of their water treatment plants. So they took advantage of my presence and organized a press conference. So I met the Minister for Environment and the Mining Minister. And they asked me to speak to their people. And of course, I made it clear to them that we are very serious with stopping Galamsey. And I was able to convince them that indeed they are serious. And the good thing is that they always made reference to the good relationship between Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire, and especially between Nana Akufo-Addo, our dear president, and President Alassane Ouattara. But then, as if to stress the point, after the meeting, it was around 12 o'clock. 3 p.m., I was called again, and I went to see the Prime Minister to assure him that we will do something about it. So, you imagine, you know, the black water starts from somewhere between Mali and Burkina Faso. The red water originates from Burkina Faso. Imagine they were doing that in there, and we were not doing it here. They were polluting our waters. You can see the effect it will have on us.
Professor Frimpong Boateng there. I'll be joined in the studio by officials of the NGO Wasa Association of Communities Affected by Mining. For more on this shortly. But could the problem be the making of the same Ivorian nationals? Well, as part of the Joy News special campaign on ending Galamsey, we bring back the story about the presence of gunmen illegally digging for gold in the northern region enclave of Dolapa near Bole. Here's Kwete Nate's here, actually excerpts of Kwete Nate's documentary Rebel Land.
The once revered illegal mining hub was crushed after it was raided by a combined team of military and national security operatives. Panic-stricken illegal miners and rebels fled Dolapa. I'm told the small-scale miners have pitched camp elsewhere, almost 10 kilometers from where I am. The new den for the illegal mining activity is now Accra, the capital of vigorous artisanal mining near Bole. The damage to the environment is all too visible. The mine employs nearly 3,000 workers. The process of mining the gold is crude. You dig trenches to collect gravels and stones. You grind the stones in a machine and pollute the air with dust. You then beat the sand in chemical and water till the gold gets trapped in this carpet. Abdul Mumin has been working for over 2 years. With luck and charms he claims brings him good fortune. He makes up to 1,500 cedis in a day, about what he would earn in a season working as a farmer.
You may not know the number of years you used before getting money, but it seems this is the 2 years of this place. You understand? But actually, you can't just identify maybe 3 years or 4 years that I'll get money and I'll stop. It can be some always came here 1 week, 1 month, some 1 year, more than that before you achieve what you like.
But what is your profession before you came into this job?
Okay. My profession is to come here and get money. Income, that's money. You understand? My family and those around my family to satisfy, and me myself.
So what brought you into this business?
Okay. Through HIPIC benefits. When I wake up at childhood, there is nothing in our family. You understand? So I just entered myself into this bush because of income to achieve my aim.
Who introduced you into this business?
I introduced myself into this Galamsey. Nobody.
Okay, so how did you get the skills? How were you able to tell that, okay, when I pour sand into this, how were you able to tell, how to even tell what is gold?
Okay, I followed those who were inside the Galamsey since, and they've taught me how to do the work.
So in your case, what have you been able to get out of this job that you are doing?
I was able to get small money to build a house, my own house.
Well, those are excerpts of that documentary done by Kwete Nate. In that documentary, Kwete highlights the fact that there are some Ivorians who have crossed over from across the Ghana border who are also engaged in illegal small-scale mining, and that is the question that we're throwing out there, whether or not what they're ambushing Professor Frimpong Boateng about is as a making of their own people. But we'll be having that conversation. But you can join the campaign on Twitter. The hashtag is No to Galamsey. Joining me in the studio now is Daniel Owusu-Kranting. He's Executive Director for WACAM and also a trade unionist. You're welcome, sir, and many thanks for your time here on the Pulse. Now, you've been working on this, on the environments. WACAM has been a very loud-mouthed environmental protection agent for some time now. What do you suppose we should be doing as a country about this situation on our hands, dealing with Galamsey?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that we must situate the whole discussions well. The discussion is concentrating so much on Galamsey, but that is just a small aspect of the mining story.
Okay.
And the reality is that this whole thing started with how we opened up too much for mining in Ghana. And it's not just the artisanal mining. We opened up for the large-scale mines, and we allowed the mining companies to mine in forest reserves. We allowed them to push a lot of farmers from the land. One mining company could be given about 250 kilometers square land, about some of them 300 kilometers square land. And that meant that a number of farmers lost their livelihood. Okay. And for agrarian-based people, if we take the land from them, it's like taking oxygen from them. And then they suffocate, and then the kind of compensation that were paid did not restore their livelihoods. And it ended up that they were transformed from farmers to some kind of miners, because some of them took up contract jobs, short-term contract jobs in the mining companies, when they were originally landowners and farmers. The other aspect we need to look at also is that we are in a third gold rush, where foreigners are coming into our country to mine gold. And the third gold rush goes with technological change. We changed from underground mining to surface mining, where in the underground mining, the conflict on the surface was not too much, because people could farm and do other things on the land. And many people got physically and economically displaced.
And that also became push factors for the kind of escalation of mining, illegal mining that we have today. Because Galamsey, as we knew it, was just some small tools. But today, the Galamsey we know is medium to large scale kind of mining, where excavators are used, where the people use cyanide, to process the ore. And they learned all these from the big mining companies.
Okay.
And the big mining companies, who government granted mining leases for mining companies to mine in forest reserves. And the forest reserves, were protection for many rivers. For example, Abidjan Forest Reserve, where Newmont is mining right now, had about 12 rivers, taking their source from the forest reserve. So when all these things happened, then the artisanal mining, which used to be what I would say pickaxe and shovel activity, then became a huge industry,
right,
with maximum damage. And they do not go through any prospecting. They keep finding out where the gold is, and they chase the gold wherever it is. When it's near a river, they go there, and then it became a big issue. So where we are today, we have been warning that the way we allowed mining, we open up too much to mining, we are going to have a situation where we will have the birth of some of the things we are having today.
And those warnings you gave many years ago.
Many years ago, about
now
2 decades,
reaping.
and none of the governments listened. The two parties, the big parties, the MPP, the NDC, the MPP did not listen, the NDC did not listen. And we find ourselves here today. And what surprises some of us is as if we woke up one day and the rivers are polluted.
But we didn't wake up to find it. Yeah.
It's been a journey. We've come a whole journey, and then all of a sudden, we are having a certain reawakening. But
better late than never.
Never, and we still have some hope. But if we don't take advantage of this time,
momentum,
and then we make a step forward, then we are going into a very disastrous situation where it will take us some time to recover. So we think that the kind of enthusiasm that is coming up, it is good. We should take advantage of it. The
public posture is good at this point.
But we must also know that anytime we abuse the environment, we pay for it. We shouldn't just look at the monies that are coming in, but we should find out about the environmental and social costs, what we are paying now. The kind of pollution we have today in the water pollution, there's no way we can account for it, because it has entered the food chain.
Okay, now we know the problem. And you have brought some highlights on areas that perhaps we didn't think about so much. I mean, you're talking about how we've opened up so much to mining, and the fact that Galamsey, the illegal small-scale mining, is just a little bit of the problem.
And they learn the lessons from the big guys.
You have been on the ground dealing with these people and dealing with these environmental issues. At this point, that you say the public posturing is good and government or whoever is looking to work at it should take advantage of the situation, what do you suppose we do? What would be your advice perhaps to the ministry?
A mix of strategies.
Okay.
I mean, you cannot have one-size-fits-all solution. The first place, there's a crime aspect, and that must be dealt with straight on. There's also the issue of economic and social displacement of communities who found their lands being ceded, to mining companies. Gainful alternative livelihood would be. I'm stressing on gainful, in the sense that these are peasant farmers who have been converted to miners, and they've been introduced to the cash economy, and their situation is not the peasants that we knew. And when we are bringing any alternative livelihood, we must bring some kind of livelihood that would attract them and sustain their lives so that they are maintained. So it's not just a matter of sending two grass cutters to them, because they are now going to compare the livelihood we are giving them to what they've been introduced to, their new life. So gainful employment is very important, and the government must invest. The next point is environmental education. Okay. Why are we in this situation? If this country had very strong environmental consciousness, we wouldn't have been here. Almost everybody is joining. Almost everybody. And then we have very strong network of powerful people. Powerful people.
That are involved.
Politicians, you know, those who fund you know, politics in our country. Those who are supposed to check crime. I'm talking about the security agencies. Because how do the Chinese, why are they able to enter this country? They pass through the airport. Right. And why is it that our immigration laws and our immigration personnel haven't been able to stop them? They were mining in Ankobra and whatnot in the full glare of everybody. There was a situation where we did some mapping in some communities and providing information to government. And then we went to the police, the divisional police commander. He said, oh, as far as he's concerned, his men came and told him that the Chinese people were gone. They were there mining.
But they were there mining. And you're linking all of this to environmental education.
Environmental education,
which was your second,
and then too, we've got to a point where we should place a moratorium on the granting of mining leases, whether large scale or small scale. We should halt. It's not as if we should ban what is there, but we should not continue granting new mining leases. You know, excuse me, this doesn't make sense.
I think the ministry says, the ministry has said
moratorium should be put on it.
So that has been done.
Yes,
right now.
And then we should have a national consultation.
Okay.
We should bring almost all the actors, including those we suspect have been doing this. You know, to a forum.
If they are engaged in criminal activity, you want to arrest them rather than bring them to the table?
No, what I'm saying is that there are people who are engaging in it because of some economic and social problems.
Okay.
The displaced, those who are economically and physically displaced. It is good to let them come and then tell their story, how they want such a solution to be to maintain and sustained. Okay. You know, and so a big national forum which should cascade down to all the communities, and commitments you know that we achieve should be able to go down, you know, for everybody to understand that this is the way we are going. Religious leaders have a role to play, because the Quran and the Bible have very important provisions which talks about how to protect the earth.
Okay.
And that is where we are happy that, you know, to hear that the Muslims and the Christians are coming on board. As for the media, I need to say here that the media has done so well. You know, for example, Wakam, our activities have been supported by the media, but we are happy to see a certain scaling up of the media's interest
in this story.
Okay. And in the long run, environmental education is key.
Environmental education is key. So you're saying that we should deal with the crime aspect ruthlessly. Yeah. Social displacement, we should look at the social displacement issues and then provide gainful alternative ventures for these people who have been displaced and for which reason they are doing these things, and then look at environmental education. One thing that you mentioned was that there are strong and very influential people in this, and I've heard that a million times across the discussion.
Some of us have experienced it, not heard.
Exactly, where I'm coming to. So why can't we just name and shame? Anytime you mention this, people say, I don't want to mention names. But who is going to mention names? And if we don't mention names and shame these people, how are we going to get the solution to the problem?
Yeah, the first thing, the first challenge is as an advocacy person, a human rights person, you need to gather as much evidence as possible. Okay. Even though you know, but if you don't have evidence to support what you are saying, naming and shaming, it will come at the appropriate time. And as I stand here, a number of names just ran through my brain. Some of them have even sent threatening words to some of us. You know. So I think that at the appropriate time, you know, we'll deal with it, because some of them, I must indicate that the evidence is so clear. The evidence is so clear. And we'll do that at the appropriate time.
When is the appropriate time? When is the appropriate time and the appropriate forum?
Not too long from now.
Well, since the media has caught up, you know, with this campaign, and we're working at it, why shouldn't we know? So that we're just helping with the campaign.
It's just a matter of ethical, you know, issues. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll say a very big thanks to you, sir, for passing through. Before I let you go, I almost escaped me. Before I let you go, sir, Professor Frimpong Boateng, his soundbite which we played earlier before we brought you in, was referring to what's happening in Côte d'Ivoire and the fact that he was confronted when he went there with this issue, that there are Ghanaians who are mining here, illegal small-scale mining activities are affecting them in Abidjan. I mean, you are on the ground. Does that make sense? Because a part of the documentary that we played was also about people from Cote d'Ivoire who have crossed the border and are doing illegal activities in our water bodies along those lines. So how do you reconcile all of that?
It makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
In the sense that, for example, if air is polluted, can you draw a boundary? I mean, it's not possible. If water gets polluted here and the stream crosses to another country, it's difficult.
Okay.
I mean, I mentioned that the kind of pollution that we have today, the level of pollution, you have heavy metals, fishes ingesting high levels of heavy metals, and it has entered the food chain. When it enters the food chain, nobody in this country is free. You go to the market, you buy either cassava or anything, or fish, and you're not going to do some analysis on the fish before you eat the fish.
You eat the fish.
No, so that is the danger, and you can have, when you continue ingesting heavy metals, you have a situation your blood can be circulating this to all the parts of your body. You can get to some organs, and then you can start having organ problems. And
that's obviously dangerous.
Yeah, it's very dangerous. So it's not something we should joke with at all.
On an international level, I mean, in terms of bilateral relations, how can we deal with the situation? Of course, we can't control the air.
No, we can't control the air. No, that is why when you live together, you should not sit down and say that what the other country is doing, you don't care, especially in terms of environmental pollution. It will surely catch up with you. Okay. So you must be concerned. I think they have their own protocols to deal with these things
at the diplomatic
level. Okay. And that is why Ivory Coast is also getting concerned. And we have opened up so much that the gold that we thought we own, I have a feeling that it's not ours. No, because the moment you open up too much for foreigners to come into your country to take advantage of your resources, they take the profit away and leave you the legacy.
They take the profits and leave you with the legacy. Yes. That's a very good and interesting point upon which we can land this conversation. Thank you very much for coming through, sir. Daniel Owusu-Kranting is Executive Director of WACAM, and he is a trade unionist. He likes to be addressed that way, as a trade unionist, joining us for that discussion. You're still here on The Pulse with me, Gifty and Doppy. I'm going to take a very quick break. When I return, I'll be engaged in a discussion about whether or not you're checking the food labels and the expiry dates on the products that you buy. Please stay.